Hey y'all, we're back. Stop shaking. Deuteronomy 24 and 25. Get adjusted here. All right. We're on Deuteronomy 24 and 25. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening to God's word. Read for yourself. I could miss a word. Make sure that I'm saying what I'm supposed to be saying in the text. But let's go ahead and dive into it, all right? Deuteronomy 24 and 25. Suppose a man marries a woman, but she does not please him. Having discovered something wrong with her, he writes a document of divorce, hands it to her, and sends her away from his house. When she leaves his house, she is free to marry another man. But if the second husband also turns against her, writes the document of divorce, hands it to her, and sends her away, or if he dies, the first husband may not marry her again, for she has been defiled. That would be detestable to the Lord. You must not bring upon the land the Lord your God is giving you as a special possession. A newly married man must not be drafted into the army or be given any other official responsibilities. He must be free to spend 1 year at home, bringing happiness to the wife he has married. It is wrong to take a set of milestones, or even just the upper milestone, as security for a loan, for the owner uses it to make a living. If anyone kidnaps a fellow Israelite, and treats him as a slave or sells him, the kidnapper must die. In this way, you will purge the evil from among you. In all cases involving serious skin diseases, be careful to follow the instructions of the Levitical priests. Obey all the commands I have given. Remember what the Lord your God did to Miriam as you were coming from Egypt. If you lend anything to your neighbor, do not enter his house to pick up the item he is given as security. You must wait outside while he goes in and brings it out to you. If your neighbor is poor and gives you his cloak as security for a loan, do not keep the cloak overnight. Return the cloak to its owner by sunset so he can stay warm through the night and bless you. And the Lord your God will count you as righteous. Verse 14. Never take advantage of poor and destitute laborers, whether they are fellow Israelites or foreigners living in your towns. You must pay them their wages each day before sunset, because they are poor and are counting on you, because they are poor and are counting on you. If you don't, they might cry out to the Lord against you, and it will be counted against you as sin. Parents must not be put to death for the sins of their children, nor children for the sins of their parents. Those deserving to die must be put to death for their own crimes. True justice must be given to foreigners living among you and to orphans, and you must never accept a widow's garment as security for her debt. Always remember that you were slaves in Egypt and that the Lord your God redeemed you from your slavery. That's why I have given you this command. When you are harvesting your crops and forget to bring in a bundle of grain from your field, don't go back to get it. Leave it for the foreigners, orphans, and widows. Then the Lord your God will bless you in all you do. When you beat the olives from your olive trees, don't go over the boughs twice. Leave the remaining olives for the foreigners, orphans, and widows. When you gather the grapes in your vineyard, don't glean the vines after they are picked. Leave the remaining grapes for the foreigners, orphans, and widows. Remember that you were slaves in the land of Egypt. That is why I am giving you this command. That was Deuteronomy 24. Let's flip over to Deuteronomy 25, verse 1. If you need to pause here, pause the video here so you can pick up tomorrow with Deuteronomy 25, or we can just keep on going through. All right. Verse 1. Suppose two people take a dispute to court, and the judges declare that one is right and the other one is wrong. If the person in the wrong is sentenced to be flogged, the judge must command him to lie down and be beaten in the presence with the number of slashes appropriate to the crime, but never give more than 40 slashes. Jesus. Never give more than 40 slashes. More than 40 slashes would publicly humiliate your neighbor. You must not muzzle an ox to keep it from eating as it treads out the grain. If two brothers are living together, one of the same property, and one of them dies without a son, his widow may not marry to anyone from outside the family. His widow may not be married to anyone outside the family. His widow may not be married to anyone else. Does that mean she got to marry somebody in the family? Instead, her husband's brother should marry her and have intercourse with her to fulfill the duties of a brother-in-law. The first son she bears to him will be considered the son of the dead brother, so that his name will not be forgotten in Israel. But if the man refuses to marry his brother's widow, she must go to the town gate and say to the elders assembled there, "My husband's brother refused to preserve his brother's name in Israel. He refuses to fulfill the duties of a brother-in-law by marrying me." The elders of the town will then summon him and talk with him. If he still refuses and says, "I don't want to marry her," the widow must walk over to him in the presence of the elders, pull his sandal from his foot, and spit in his face. Then she must declare, "This is what happens to a man who refuses to provide for his brother with children." Ever afterward, in Israel, his family will be referred to as the family of the man whose sandal was pulled off. Verse 11. If two Israelite men get into a fight, and the wife of one tries to rescue her husband by grabbing the testicles of the other man, what's going on in Israel? By grabbing the testicles of the other man, you must cut off her hand, show her no pity. You must use accurate scales when you weigh out merchandise. And you must use full and honest measures. Ooh, my battery about to die. Hold 1 second, guys. I should have looked at that first. Ugh. Sorry. Issue resolved. Let's start with verse 11 again. If two Israelite men get into a fight and the wife of one tries to rescue her husband by grabbing the testicles of the other man, you must cut off her hand, show her no pity. You must use accurate scales when you weigh out merchandise. You must use full and honest measures. I can't talk. Blah, blah, blah. Yes, always use honest ways and measures so that you may enjoy a long life in the land the Lord your God is giving you. All who cheat with dishonest ways and measures are detestable to the Lord your God. Never forget what the Amalekites did to you as you came from Egypt. They attacked you when you were exhausted and weary, and they struck down those who were straggling behind. They had no fear of God. Therefore, when the Lord your God has given you rest from all your enemies in the land he has given you as a special possession, you must destroy the Amalekites and erase their memory from under heaven. The last line of this chapter with the exclamation point is never forget this. Don't forget the Amalekites. And never forget this. Never forget, never forget. Don't forget to remember where all your blessings come from. Don't forget to give honor where honor is due. I like that. I like this chapter. But that was Deuteronomy 25, you all. We'll pick up tomorrow with Deuteronomy 26 and 27. And we are almost complete. We have 34 chapters in the book of Deuteronomy. So we should be finished. We just finished 25. 1, 2, 3, and 4 more days. Have a good day. Don't forget where your blessings come from. I like when Layla says, some people get money, and get on their feet, and then the harmony come in, change. I love that song. All right, for real, goodbye.